What's up, people? Have you ever wondered, is there such a thing as free will? Are you living in your purpose? Or is there this thing called destiny? If you have, listen up. I want to be able to touch on some of these things and some experiences that I've gone through to help shed light. My name is Keisha Martin. I'm an energy alignment specialist, and I am here to communicate how to align into your energy and your frequency. I'm going to do a mini plug because, yes, I have a couple programs to offer to be able to help you, as well as a free PDF that you can download, and which will be in the link below. So now that I did that mini plug, here we are. All right. So I was wondering about this whole thing called destiny and faith and having, are we living in our purpose? And I know a lot of folks are wondering the same thing. Like, if you are doing the thing that you are supposed to do, or if you are doing the things that fulfill you to make you happy, are you walking in your purpose? And most of us are trying to do something that will make us feel great, that we're doing something wonderful for you. Maybe you're just doing something because you want to just make some extra money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're not feeling fulfilled, then there's something else missing, and you may be wondering what exactly that is. I have gone through some of these same experiences myself and wondering what exactly I should be doing and wondering, is this the right direction? Am I moving at the right place, in the right space? Should I be doing energy work? Should I be doing photography? And these are all things that has happened to me, and I'm sure you may be in the same space too. Maybe you've gone to school, got your degrees, and you're in this career and you feel stuck. You're not happy in it. This can also happen in a relationship where you met this person, you guys met at the same place. Everything was great in the beginning, but now there's this drift and you're not exactly sure anymore if this is your person. And it happens to all of us. And a lot of times we want to feel bad because maybe there's really nothing wrong with this other person, but it's just not a right fit for you anymore. And now you're wondering, is it bad to want to leave? These are all different ways this thing shows up. And it brings us back to ourselves, especially now in a world of consciousness where everyone's starting to level up, look within themselves to see where they're going right, what they're doing right, where they're going wrong, and how to make the things meet so you can actually feel good again, right? So, with that being said, I was just in this space, feel like there's times that the universe kind of comes in and shows up in a way that reminds you this is what you've asked for. And it really made me reflect more on what exactly is it that I want. And you may be in the space too. Where is it that you want to be? What is it that you want to do? What do you see your life being? And there's a couple chain of events that happened. It felt like this past year was like a series of unfortunate events. But in hindsight, which we all become experts in, I realized that a lot of this was to transform and to get me back on track. Sometimes we end up on a path, and on this path, you realize that although these things seem great and they could probably get us somewhere, will it get us to where we really originally want to be? And the answer will be no. So these obstacles that you may be facing are showing up to bring you back to the path of least resistance. And the more we're going through things, trying to have an experience or to get to the result, you can keep getting bigger and bigger, bigger obstacles. Now, the paradox in this whole thing is like sometimes you have to go through some challenges to expand. But when do you know this is an expansive challenge versus an obstacle that's rerouting me to the right path? And that's where I had my questions. All right. So check it. I was watching Lost. Someone that told me to watch Lost, and I know that happened like eons ago. But something happened. Someone crashed into my car, and I said, "You know what? Well, while I have a couple, while I have some downtime, I'll watch the series. And in between it, I was like, I was done. All the characters were starting to get on my nerves. And then something else happened. And I was like, okay, I'll finish watching it. I was kind of emotionally invested in Sawyer. So I was like, all right, I'm going to finish watching it. And I'm glad I did because in the end, it's, you see how when they had the pair, there was like a couple storylines written and there was timelines and there was, I think they were trying to make someone so seem like he was off. Then they had the aliens, then they had like the godlike syndromes, like where you're not sure what the brothers were doing. But long story short, when they did the different timelines, you've seen that they were able to, the same people were supposed to meet each other and that they were all interconnected. And for whatever reason, they were supposed to know each other and they were supposed to connect. And then it really went back into the destiny in regards to when they didn't want to be on the island, they didn't want to do these things. All of these things were hard. Now, instead of living the plush life in your home, they're now living this thing where they're fighting people all the time and fighting for their lives and not wanting to die. And in each of it, whether it's to push the button or do something, they didn't want to do what they were doing. So if you haven't seen the show, then I recommend watching. I don't want to give away too much, but there's a lot of things each person didn't want to do. And I can see the parallel in our lives where you go through things that you just don't want to do. But no matter how you fight it, even if you switch over into another thing, you can end up meeting the same people going through a similar hardship. And the things actually tie together to be able to bring you to where you are really destined to be. So, in the end, they all wanted a certain kind of love. They all wanted a certain level of support. They all wanted to have this deeper connection and feeling that their life was important. They all had screw ups. And in the process of dealing with all of those mistakes, regrets, and pains that they had, they were still worthy of love and they still were able to find something meaningful to their lives towards the end. And how I related it to destiny and free will, sometimes we are going to experience things that we just don't want to do. And in that process of dealing with those things, we have a choice. We can continue to be mad about it. We can decide to fight it. Or we can decide to be open to what's happening. Now, being open doesn't mean you're going to keep doing the thing and complaining about it. Being open to it is saying, okay, what exactly? Let's reflect. Let's see exactly what's happening. So that way you can make a conscious decision, get into an alignment, and make a choice from there. So it's not that we don't have free will. We have the free will to choose. But if you go into the biblical side, they'll say, I know the plans that are laid out for you. And when you think about what the overall plan that our creator has for us, each of us have something that we are destined to be. And this is going to sound really harsh, and nobody wants to hear this because no one wants to think, oh, I'm going through this crap and I caused this on myself. But nobody has it all figured out. If someone did, we wouldn't have hunger, or we would definitely have world peace and things would be great all across the board. However, I feel that each role that we each play, whether it's someone who is struggling, who's gone through drugs, who's homeless, or someone who is going through a great expansive experience, someone who is maybe thought to commit suicide and then they failed at it. I feel like each of these experiences is a way that we can either pull together or pull apart. And it helps each of us in this weird way, you know? And even if a person passes, there's something with that passing, even if it's early, that we learn a lesson from. That lesson for one person may be to live on regret and never get over it and continue to go on their drugs and go through that path. And then other people observe it. And then from their observation, things happen. Maybe somebody built a rehab. Maybe someone talks to legislation, or someone says, you know what, I don't want my child ever touching those things, and they start having conversations, and now we do preventative things. On the other hand, someone might say, wow, let me create, now that this death has happened, let me expand my life because now it's awoken me. So that death in itself may have been something to create a catalyst towards everyone else. Like, for example, there was something where a person passed in a bank, And in that bank, she was gone for 4 days since the time she clocked in, and nobody noticed. That's resonating with a lot of people because how many people don't call and check in on their loved ones? How many people don't have a relationship with people in their family anymore because they're mad about something else? So no one's checked on this person for 4 days. How many people are in an office and just not even communicating because they're just so focused on what they want to do for themselves that they're not even looking or connecting with other people? There's a lot of things that played out here. I wasn't there, but when we really think about the intricacies of this, it lets a lot of folks reflect on themselves and say, wow, this is something that's going on. And hopefully, it's enough introspection where a person can look further in to say, well, how can I do better in my life? All right. Now, I don't want to get sidetracked in the conversation, but I wanted to give the examples of how it's easy for us to get lost in our thoughts, get distracted with computers, the internet, and not take the time for introspection, which will allow you to see what your destiny is, allow you to have faith in the process. And when you're there, that's when you can say, all right, when you're feeling that alignment, when you're connected with your source, when you can feel peace, you can feel lightness, it's easier for you to discern, is this something that's fear based? Is this a fear program that's running on me and I'm scared to move forward because A, it's based off, or is it B, it's something that's actually here trying to protect me? Maybe I shouldn't go that direction. When you aren't aligned, the fear is going to pop up and you're going to just run the opposite direction. And then you'll continue running into more and more obstacles until you get back on track. But when you have faith, you'll see that it's a detour and you'll be like, ah, all right, well, this person may not be right for me. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm just going to trust it and I'm going to move back in this lane and I'm going to try to speak into spirit and ask more about what exactly, where should I go next? And some of the things you receive may actually not make sense. But when you do it, you're like, oh, wow, there's my intuitive guidance again. It's speaking to me. Maybe you're getting symbols or you're receiving, you see an animal constantly and it just kind of tugs at your heart. Like, oh, why do I keep seeing the same yellow bird? Why am I seeing the same big butterfly? And when you start to see these things, feel into the earth and find out what exactly this meaning is for me. And then you'll get a message, whether it's to keep still or to move forward or to work with people or to be alone. And you'll start to get the clarity that you're really looking for. But when we are too busy with everything and we're not aware of the things that are around us, then we start to keep doing everything by our own sight and we miss the bigger vision of what is in play for our lives. So to ultimately answer the question, there is choice. Sometimes I wonder about the free will part because it feels like, all right, once this thing has been locked in before we're born, then this is what it is. And then all the choices are going to lead up to us being either, this big marvel, which I think everybody wants. Everybody wants to feel like one day they're going to be a millionaire or they're going to be this one expansive being. Or maybe somebody's purpose is to die early or to go through all these crazy things for whatever lesson. If we had it all figured out, we would know. And this would probably touch on some nerves, but what other explanation could there be? Because we all have a purpose and we all want to think our purpose is supposed to be enlightenment and to be big and to show everybody how great we are. But some people's purpose may not be to be super big. Some people's purpose may be to go down this other way. Maybe they are supposed to have things attached to them and then take the wrong choice for us to learn and get a big, maybe they're that one lock or that one key for us to understand the bigger picture better so we can do better. We just don't ever know. So it's all about being in alignment. And if you enjoyed this topic or triggered you a little bit, it's just a sign for you to go in and see what part of it rings true or which one doesn't ring true, and to do an inner search of finding who you are, what your purpose is. maybe this will trigger you into starting your own channel, or to starting a program for all the things that are going on right now, so that we can start to make this world a better place, so that we can start to do the right things for this place, and start to help the people that really need the help. Okay, because just because someone's homeless doesn't mean that they're just a terrible person. Sometimes just life hits. Maybe they got into a bad accident, health issue, medical bills went overboard, and now that this is where it's at. But so many people having one and done kids, it's easy for something like this to occur, and and not have family, or people passing and them not having someone to really connect with. So reach out to your loved ones, tap into yourself, and just kind of learn to trust the process more. And and as you tune in, you'll learn what is right for you. If you're having a hard time tuning in, gotta give another plug, right? If you're having a hard time tuning in and you feel like a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, you feel like change can't happen, you feel like that things aren't for you, this stuff is just off, it's wrong. I have a book. You can read my book. It's called Ultimate Life Makes Sense. I'll put the link is also below. Get the book, and then try things for yourself. Start to tune in. I feel like everybody has a gift. And if you're ready and you feel like stuff is still blocking you and it's not necessarily you and your mindset, then let's do a session. I definitely recommend starting with my book and allowing yourself to practice unlearning the stuff that's been taught, and trusting yourself and loving yourself enough to do these things on your own. And then you can make the right choices so you can live in your purpose. All right. So this is Keisha Martin. I'm your energy alignment specialist, and I will see you the next time.